Welcome to Dials and Dice. This is Stephen Parker. Got a surprise podcast slash interview today with Oliver Pocknell. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's been recovering from Worlds a little bit, just been getting admin sorted and enjoying the post Worlds hype.
Yeah, it's I unfortunately wasn't able to go this year. I have a child, but or a couple of them. But I just wanted to just get your perspective and kind of do a little interview for the community to see what your thoughts is about the game, stuff like that. So why don't we start off by you just sharing a brief synopsis of how the tournament went for you?
It went pretty well. I mean, it's a weird one, right? Because I came 16th, which with hindsight is amazing, and I'm really happy with it. But I also look at it and go, oh, I was that close. All three of my games that I lost, I went 7-3 in the end. I was super close, and you always feel like you could have made top eight. But yeah, in I think I played only three American players. So I played Denmark, Australia, America, uh, Holland, the Dutch. What was fifth round? Who was I playing fifth round? Oh no, fifth round was Nicholas God, so Sweden.
Oh,
Yeah, so I I beat up Nicholas in round five. We had a really good game. Um, and then yeah, round six was England. Round seven, um, yeah, round six was England. Round seven was America. Round eight was no. Round nine was Nathan Idy. Round 10 was Corentin from France. So yeah, I went around the world. It was pretty good.
wow, that's pretty incredible. I just yeah, uh, I've been to a couple large events and had the opportunity to just play different people from around the world, but it is really a unique experience if you're listening and you haven't um, had the opportunity to go to a large event, and you're a casual player, I would just encourage you to save up some money and just make it out to one just to see what it's like. Um, so
Yeah, super fun.
yeah, all right. So moving on to to some questions. Post Worlds hype. You mentioned that. So just what are your thoughts of the state of X Wing as a game, just in general?
Um, so I'm gonna contextualize this a little bit because I was super worried about the state of the game. Um, and Worlds has done a lot to assuage that. Um, so in the last month, I've gone to two 100 plus person events. One of them was the Sith Taker Open in the UK, and the other one was Worlds. And the difference for this Worlds was previously when you went to a big event, it was all about like spending time with people and meeting new people. This Worlds was
Yeah.
more of a homecoming because we've been spending so much time playing people online.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it totally makes sense.
yeah, we now got to meet them all in person. So in terms of
Yeah,
how the game's going, I think it's improving.
because the last few years we've had this growth of the online community with Galaxies and the XTC,
Mm.
and so a lot of people actually started playing during COVID, and this is really their first chance to get out and compete on the table.
Yeah,
Um, it is really cool to see how the game has just continued to survive just throughout with the online play.
yeah,
But
it's been good to see. But I think the other thing that's made me super hopeful as well is with the I don't know if I think it was caught on stream as well, but with the prize ceremony after the finals, Courtney from AMG was it Courtney? It wasn't
yeah, I think
Courtney.
that was
Yeah, I
her
think it
name.
was Courtney. Yeah, um, she had a really good conversation. It's basically like, look, guys, we appreciate that this has been bumpy, but we are 100% behind everything that we're doing here. Like this world has been like they were meant to do this in 2020, so they've been sitting on
Right.
this for 3 years now. And yeah, like OP is definitely back. Like store kit's coming back. They're going to keep the world's qualifiers going, and I think so. Chris Mitchell, some of you may know, but you'll definitely know Chris Allen, right? Like the
Yeah,
head TO.
yeah. Chris Allen's
Um,
actually one of the locals. I'm in North Carolina.
oh, amazing. So, yeah, I've got the same thing with Chris Mitchell, who's like the Chris Allen of European events, right? He runs everything in Europe. And we were
Wow.
having a chat on the way back because he gave me a lift to the airport about how it really did feel like before this, AMG kind of got the idea of X-Wing, and coming to Worlds, they've seen exactly what X-Wing Armada Legion is, right? Like it's not just a game that you play
Right.
at home on your kitchen table. It's the massive community that you get with these huge events, and I feel like they've bought into it and they've gone, yeah, well, we're going to keep this going.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also there was the changing of hands with FFG and AMG during all of this, the COVID time.
Mm.
So yeah, it's really cool to see. So speaking specifically about the meta,
Mm.
um, we saw some stuff. I feel like the community saw some stuff that we weren't expecting in the top cut.
Hmm.
Um, what are your thoughts of like a B wing, hollow? What else did we see?
Yeah, yeah. So let me just get it up because I had this on roll better. Um, but yeah, in terms of the meta that I was expecting, there's most of it was what I was expecting. I mean, so in going back to my last game of the day, it was Cynthia versus Cynthia, right, against Caranta. He knocked me out of top eight, and whoever won was getting into the top eight was Cynthia. That's is something that I don't think a lot of people were expecting with Cynthia, but I think if you were paying attention then, you would absolutely have expected to see Moff Gideon in the top eight. So
Yeah,
yeah, that one was unsurprising. Right, there we go. I've got up the lists now. So yeah, in terms of the other one that I think I was expecting to see everywhere was the four ship separatist list, because that was doing super super well.
yeah,
I mean, going back to the ones that you mentioned, I think the two that maybe we weren't expecting to see was obviously the rebel lists. One of those, I'm going to tip my hat to Bartosz. That
yeah,
man is a monster flying A-wings,
yeah. Actually,
and
before the tournament, or like actually when the tournament started, I think they streamed one of those games, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna put money on him. Like,
yeah, yeah, he's kind of good. It doesn't matter that it's been however many years. Yeah, he is ridiculously good with A-wings, and I think that is a list which has and we were having a discussion just about an hour ago in a different Discord about floor and ceiling. Basically, the way I define this is that a list with a low floor is something that is easy to pick up and do well with. So it's not got a very big skill cap. And a list with a high ceiling is something that has the possibility of doing incredibly well, but only if you know it really,
yeah,
really well.
yeah,
I would put Bartosz's list as one that is a list with an incredibly high ceiling, but also a very, very high floor. It's not easy to pick up and
right,
use.
yeah,
The flip side of that, the other rebel list is I would have defined that as the other way around. In the present meta, I think it's easy to pick up and use, but it's difficult to do well with. I don't think it has a very high ceiling, and I was proven wrong. Yeah, Negro I can't remember his first name, but this guy he's been in the Spanish XTC as well, and he went 7-2, I believe, in the XTC.
oh wow,
So he knows his way around a rebel jousting list, and yeah, it turns out he did the same thing at Worlds. So
cool,
yeah,
yeah.
I think those are the two surprises for me. I really like Nathan's list as well. Shout out to Nathan for
Which
combining the
Nathan
two
Idy,
different flavors of Republic. Yeah.
which
Yeah,
what was his
because
list?
so you had the two arcs. You had Wolf and Jag, the cheap
Okay,
ones in Coruscant. You had the Torrent kickback as well, and Contrail. And normally you'd either see the six ship version, which is the Arcs, the three Siege of Coruscant small ships, and a filler, or you'd see the double Jedi with the three Siege of Coruscant small ships,
Yeah.
so Click, Contrail, and Kickback. And he's combined them together because he gets the acing ability of Anakin, and I think he's the only one that was flying Anakin Ether Sprite that I saw as well with the
Huh.
bullseye.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's something something that I would note from all of the people who ended up in the top cut is that they really knew there was a big skill element to their lists. Like
So
it wasn't just
you
something
played
that jousted.
Nathan in round 9?
Yep, Nathan in round nine. It was yeah, that game came down to a judge call from D.
Oh wow.
We had there was two of them. We had one of them went with me, one of them went against me. And if the second one had gone with me, I would have won the game. It was the bullseye from Cynthia was that close. I
Oh
missed the
wow.
bullseye on Contrail, and then Nathan won because I couldn't kill him.
The bullseyes.
That's good. It was a really good game. I did also one round an arc from full to nothing,
Oh
so I
wow.
kind of I think I got away with it a little bit in the early game.
Yeah. Those are all fun. Oh, it's always fun when you have a game where you think like one person has it in the bag, and then they just fight back, and then it's like super close at the end. Those are always good.
Yeah.
All right, so nerfs and buffs
Hmm.
opinions.
Oh, there's a few things that need to get just hit with a hammer. Um, I want to see the Republic token passing disappear, or at least go up in points. I want to see Moff Gideon get hit with a massive hammer. I think Kanan is too good with the ability to have two force points. I think they need to put him down to
Change the
either
loadout.
reduce his crew or make him 5 points. I
Or
don't mind which.
I mean,
Yeah, like
just the loadout to where he can't take
yeah,
but so
exactly. Just
much.
just make sure he can't take Maul or Ahsoka or whatever. Just make him like 8 loadout points. Actually, no lies. Make him 6 because then he
6,
can't take the
the
child.
child, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, make sure he can't have multiple force points. What else? Boba's really good.
So yeah, somebody mentioned in the chat if they nerf Kanan,
Mhm.
what does Scum have? Like what has got to be buffed in Scum for it to?
See, I've been beating this drum for a little while. I think Scum's actually really good. Just nobody is allowed to use any of the other good stuff because Kanan is too broken.
Ah,
I think
it's
there's a
just
lot of
the crowd
yeah, yeah,
mentality.
like exactly. I think there's a lot of really interesting things. Like fast brace is still incredible. There's a 4 point fang that gets to double tap. Like that's just not being used. It's
Yeah,
okay. It's I3, but you got a double tapping fang. What else have you got in there? The six is still incredibly efficient. You've got Dengar at 7, who I know people aren't flying him, but I think he's also surprisingly good.
yeah. I mean, Dingar's always been good.
Yep. There's triple lat lists running around, like taking names, but they're surprisingly difficult to use. And I think one of if I go, this is related, I promise. The reason that we aren't seeing Scum and Rebels right now is because I think there's been a mistake in how people view 3 agility efficiency. And I want to look specifically at Nicholas's list and also the other finalist, Mr. Cox, Andrew Cox.
Yeah, because it seems like the thing right now is 3 agility, hard to kill.
Hmm.
Like, so how is the meta going to shift from that?
So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see. I think we're going to get two things. Either AMG identifies the fact that they've made 3 agility too cheap, because there's too much 3 dice attack, 3 dice defense for 3 points right now. Like the entire, you could fill an entire FO list with just three
Right.
three, because either with cannons or whatever. Same thing with the Battle Yavin TIE fighters. The idea that Mauler Mythal is 3 points is disturbing. Same thing with Iden being 3, Moff Gideon being 3. Like there's too many good 3 point TIE fighters.
Yeah, and
And I think if you fix that, then you're allowed to use some of the beefier stuff that you would normally see in Scum and Rebels, like B-Wings, etc., because they're not immediately efficiencyed out the meta.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say that that's the argument. If they don't do that, then I think all they need to do is just make stuff from other factions cheaper. Carry on with the arms race if you're going to let everyone have fun,
Right.
because if everything's broken, nothing's broken.
Right. Just give everybody a big gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be careful with that because eventually it devolves into variance hell where the person who rolls better on their green dice wins. But
Right.
yeah.
So let's see here. What is? Oh yeah, scenarios. Do
Mhm.
you think they're going to be releasing more soon, or do you think they are?
I'd like to see more. I was originally a big decrier of scenarios. I think they've been balanced a lot better. I like the can't do stuff till the second turn thing. I would also like to see salvage change. I don't like the random element with crits. I think what would be super nice is if you could not include half. Well, I'd love to include half points in everything, but that's me. But I would love to see salvage change that as soon as a ship has gone below its half point limit,
Even
not
scramble?
necessarily give up those. Yeah, in scramble. Sorry, salvage.
No, I mean, like
Apologies.
you would like to see half points in scramble.
I'd like to see half points in everything.
I just feel like it's dangerous in scramble because there's if somebody tags those three things, they get it for two turns. The game's like, and then they get half points on one thing. The game's over.
Yeah, but I'd also argue that you should, if you're going to put half points in everything, you should probably increase it up to 25,
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
that.
easier to hit, right? Like leave chance at 20, but put the other ones at 25.
Yeah, like the point threshold to win.
Exactly. Because then you get more, because at the moment we are literally seeing that. It's okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang on to these objectives, or I'm going to hang on to these crates. I'm going to kill one of your ships and then I win.
Yeah.
So 25 would mean it would be
Oh,
a little bit more
an odd
deadly.
number.
Yeah, why not?
That would be interesting. Just thinking about like if lists are an even number, and then
Yeah. Well, you got to
you
get some objective points.
right.
You can't
Um.
just go murder things.
Well, that's about it I have for questions. Do you have any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
First of all, thanks. Secondly, yeah, I think X-wing is delicate still. It's coming back, but it's still delicate. And if anyone has an opportunity to run local events or to encourage people to go to local events, I would 100% do it, because I think as much as the big events are happening because people are willing to travel for them, we need to encourage the game to grow. And the only way that that happens is by getting more small local events where people can come, dip their toe in the water, and have a great time. So be friendly to new players. Like talk them through things, explain things to them. Don't just dumpster them and expect them to come back, because no one's going to have fun. And yeah, make sure that you run as many local events as possible and watch the community grow.
Yeah. Speaking of local events, Dials and Dice, we're actually partnering with our friendly local game store in July, and we're going to be streaming um, a tournament. As of right now, it's a 1 day tournament with a 32 player cap. But if the store championship gets come out, I might be able to
Ooh.
convince them into doing a store champ. So we'll see. We got some time, but yeah, we're Dials and Dice. We are trying to help I mean, I can't get into the store very often, and so I'm trying to do what I can to help the community locally. So,
Hmm. Well, you're running an amazing podcast.
well, thank you. So we're relaunched into actual podcast now. So we've just been doing a stream, um, and so um, we don't really have a schedule. We're just gonna podcast and do stuff as it comes. Um, the goal is at least once a month, so we have some consistency. So, but anyway, thank you for joining me today,
Hey, no worries.
and I will just end the stream here. Everyone, have a good night, sleep tight, and don't let the bed bugs bite.